Well, hello there, YouTube. Today is Thursday. I took this little deer thing road, and this road is horrible. I don't want to go back the same way I came. If I can get through to another road, it'd be kind of cool. But I've been having trouble with this GoPro setup. I had the GoPro charged, the remote charged, and then Lord have mercy. Then I tried to use the remote, and it doesn't even work. It doesn't even come on. I don't think this is a road anymore. Ugh. I think this road ended. Crap, that means I gotta go back. What a mess. But anyway, charged up my remote, set it aside, and apparently it's completely dead again. I've had that happen before, and I had to reset it, but it's not resetting, so I'm kind of guessing the battery's dead. So maybe when I charged it, it stayed on. It's the only thing I can think of. Oh crap, that means I gotta go back the same way. This road sucks. Anyway, getting warm. I'm kind of hot now, 79 degrees. Anyway, bye. Anyway, thank God I'm off of that road. I think my mic is hanging again. Should still be working, but anyway, I checked I get on YouTube and I go into you know, my, I guess the editor kind of thing, and I see that I had quite a few messages, like private messages on there that I don't get on there and check very often, because several of them were a few months old, and I finally saw that and replied, and I apologize that I haven't replied. I didn't even realize that there were any new ones there, and I don't check often enough, obviously. But anyway, one of my subscribers wanted me to talk a little bit more about my trike and not so much about the road and what I'm seeing. But anyway, this is I ride a 2014. I bought it new in 2014, and it's a motor trike conversion. It's the Razor, and I bought it in Shawnee, Oklahoma, and they actually built them there. They had like 30 of them to choose from on the showroom floor. So I actually worked a deal out via email. Then I drove up there. My wife drove up there, or we drove up there, and I rode it home, and she drove home. But actually, when I rode it home, I've never even ridden one before. I didn't even test drive it. Never ridden a Goldwing Trike before, so that was my first experience. Probably should have test drove some first, but I like this one because it has air ride suspension on the back that you can pump up with the thing right there. So when I pull a trailer and ride two up, I normally ride 30 pounds. I'm actually at 32 now, but I normally ride 30 pounds by myself, and when I pull, my wife and I ride and I pull a trailer, I put it up to like 50 pounds just because it's weight on the hitch and all the weight we carry, so I bump it up to 50 pounds and it rides really smooth. But it's got all the bells and whistles. Or Honda, of course. The Goldwing has heated grips, heated seats, which I never use because we don't get that cold down here in the south, in the Austin area, so I really don't use them. I actually use the heated grips a couple times. But anyway, I ride the heck out of this thing. I got almost 64,000 miles on it already, and I put every bit on, and they're pretty much highway miles. They're not, I don't ride around town because Austin's too dangerous to ride around town on a motorcycle. I have gone through Austin before, but never in rush hour. So my wife and I travel quite a bit on it. or not quite a bit, just like once a year. Sometimes we go twice a year, like to a small weekend trip, but I haven't done that in a little while. I get one day off a week, and that's usually Thursday, so I've been known to ride 350 to 500 miles in one day by myself. But anyway, another one was to talk about my other bikes and that I had. I think I started off when I was in high school. I bought a 125C. I was under 18, of course, but I bought a 1973. I think it was a 73 125cc Honda Elsinore. And if you know what that is, it's an on and off-road bike. But I rode that to high school, back and forth, and parked, and that's when I remember the Kickstarter broke, and so I had to I had to run with it and jump on it and put it in first gear and start it up. And I used to give well, it's my wife now, but she was my girlfriend back in high school when I was probably 16, 17. She was probably 14. And I used to give her a ride home on it. You know, I'd have to run and jump start it and turn around, go pick her up, and I'd give her a ride home. But anyway, that was my first bike. I loved it, actually. It was a cool bike. I still I wish I had it. But after a while, I stripped everything off of it and made it like a dirt bike. And you know, we had slack piles from the old coal mines, and we'd ride those hills all the time. It was a blast. Then after that, I had in 1977, I bought a brand new Kawasaki KZ650, which was a beautiful bike at the time. It was a 4-cylinder, and it was just a gorgeous bike. And so we used to ride. I used to ride that all the time. That I rode around town a lot. I grew up in the Midwest, a little bitty small town of probably 14,000. Well, it's probably less than that now, but rode around there, rode it to work. And then eventually I bought a, I don't know why I bought this, and I bought a 125cc Carabella. It was a motocross bike. It wasn't a very good bike. You know, both my 125cc's, the clutches slipped on them like crazy. And what I didn't know, but I know now, is you got to have the right oil. That works good for wet clutches, and back then I don't know if they even had them. I just used, you know, 30 weight oil or whatever. But didn't ride the Carabella much. I just didn't like it. I rebuilt the motor, and I even put new clutch plates in both of them, and it didn't seem to help, so it had to have been just the oil. So I had it, just kept it in the garage, kept it in the basement. I rode it every now and then, but it just went ree, ree, ree. You know, the clutch was slipping so much, it wasn't a whole lot of fun to ride. I'm sure I didn't pay much for it, but anyway, those are the bikes. Then I have this. Didn't get this until I was in my 50s. You know, because I wanted to, back when I had my Kawasaki KZ650, I think I bought it, I still lived at home with my parents, because it was 1977. I was just out of high school. You know, I graduated in 1977, so I kept it. We had a house with a garage basement kind of thing, so I'd pull it I wouldn't open the garage. I just pulled it in the door and I'd park it in there. I don't know if I was gone somewhere on my car or something. I come home and my motorcycle was gone, and my parents were gone. I figured, what the heck? And so I figured they had to take my motorcycle. I had no clue my dad even knew how to ride a motorcycle. But they took my bike and they went up to Chicago to see some friends of theirs on my motorcycle. My dad didn't even have a motorcycle license. But they just took off on this thing, and I'm thinking they finally come home, and I'm just sitting there smiling, dumbfounded. You know, I had no clue my dad even knew how to ride, but I guess my motorcycle got him hooked again. Apparently he used to ride many years ago, before we had kids. But anyway, I got him hooked again, so he started buying motorcycles. He bought like a 750 Kawasaki and put a windshield on it. Him and my mom rode on that quite a bit. I don't know if we had any other ones. I kind of moved away in 1985. My wife and I moved. She was my girlfriend in high school. We moved here to Texas. So my dad actually ended up buying a Goldwing, a big old used one. I think it was just one of the four-cylinder, like a 1100. Might have been like a 1983, but they were driving around on it. You know, I had babies at the time, and so they'd come down here on the Goldwing, and I thought they were crazy, you know, these, because my kids were you know, probably 3, and the other one was a baby. So I thought they were crazy. They'd come down from Illinois and come down to Texas. They'd go all over the country on their Goldwing, and I just thought they were crazy. And then when I got his age, and I'm thinking, oh God, that would be fun. So I ended up with this thing, and my wife and I go all around the country because our kids are grown now. They're grown men, so I get it now. So I didn't get it when I was young and had young kids, but man, I totally get it now. I live for this, riding this thing across the country. But anyway, this video is getting really long. Anyway, bye. Well, I think it's time to go home. That's just the second person that pulled right out in front of me, and I just slam on the brakes and lay on the horn. I guess my bright low beam LEDs aren't bright enough. Had one pull out in front of me in Marble Falls. She pulled out and then stopped, so I had to drive around her because she saw me at last minute. And this one just pulled cross lanes right in front of me. So time to go home. Pushing my luck today. Anyway, bye.